Conference Chairman as Senator John Thune. With me now, Senator, thanks so much for the time. It would have been, as you well know, Biden's third run, so he declined. But then he also said, I will not be silenced. And he laid out more or less a to-do list. So is he really out?
I think he is. And I think, as he correctly pointed out, the window is starting to close. And I respect his decision. I think, Deidre, that it doesn't really change the contours of the race on the Democratic side. I think it was Hillary's to lose. I think it's still Hillary's to lose. But I'm just looking forward to a competitive campaign where I hope we can have a great contrast of ideas, and I'm looking forward to electing a Republican president that will work with us to help solve problems that we've been putting off for way too long.
Well, Democratic strategists have told us that they actually see this as a potential weakness, just for that reason that you mentioned there, this idea that the conversations get a little bit, well, less interesting. But I want to ask you about something else, because Senate Democrats are blocking a Republican-backed bill that would crack down on so-called sanctuary cities by threatening to withhold funds to local governments that do not cooperate with federal immigration officials. One senator goes as far as to blame Donald Trump.
The Republican leading in the polls actually launched his presidential candidacy by attacking immigrants, saying, and I quote, "They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. Please, please spare me." That anti-immigrant rhetoric has made its way to the Senate floor courtesy of Donald Trump and some Republicans eager to capitalize on this rhetoric for their own political gain.
So, Senator, what is the next best step? I mean, the U.S. Senate is going to take up some of Donald Trump's policies?
No, that's not it at all, Deirdre. This is a very common sense approach to trying to protect American families and communities, and it really it's been around for a long time. But of course, the Kate Steinle incident last summer, I think, really shone a light on this problem, and that is that there are 340 local jurisdictions in this country.
And Senator, I don't mean to cut you off, but just to bring everybody who doesn't remember, this beautiful young girl who everybody said was helpful to her community, was just this model citizen, was murdered by someone who turned out to be an illegal immigrant and had broken U.S. laws numerous times.
Right. They hit 7 convictions of felonies and deported 5 different times, kept coming in. And what's happening is you've got a lot of local communities that are discouraged or don't work with federal immigration officials. And as a consequence of that, we've got about 1,000 alien criminals that are hitting the streets every single month. And so Kate Steinle is not an isolated incident. There are examples of this that are happening all the time, and it's making our streets less safe, more dangerous for families in this country. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has everything to do with sound policy that protects people in this country from people who have committed crimes and are in the country illegally.
So, Senator Thune, the best thing that can happen on Capitol Hill is what?
Well, the best thing that can happen is we persuade a few Democrats that this is really something they ought to be for, and I hope the American people will make that abundantly clear to them. We failed on a procedural vote yesterday. I think we had 2 Democrats who voted with us. We need about 6 in order to get the requisite number of votes to even get on the bill. I mean, this was a motion to proceed to the bill. We didn't even get on it. We didn't have a vote on the policy itself. This was simply an opportunity for us to actually debate it, and they blocked that procedurally. And so this is just politics of obstruction on the part of the Democrats in the Senate, and they need to come to their senses and realize that they need to work with us on something that really is a common sense policy. And so I hope that the American people will engage in the debate and make that very clear to Democrats in the Senate.